Welcome to the Cricket Badger IPL Daily Podcast 2021. The Indian Premier League 14th edition. It's great to have you with us. From the first match all the way to the final. Chennai Super Kings, Delhi Capitals, Kolkata Knight Riders, Mumbai Indians, Punjab Kings, Rajasthan Royals, Royal Challengers Bangalore, Sunrisers Hyderabad. May the best team win. Brought to you in association with Who Knows Wins. Put your money where your mates are, and play along with the Cricket Badger.
Hello, everybody. Welcome along. Here's another edition of the IPL 2021 Daily Podcast. And I am James, the Cricket Badger, joined by Claire, Rito and Abai today to dissect and have a look over, pore over the double headers that we've seen today in the IPL. The table is a little bit clearer, I think, after the games today. Defeats for the Punjab Kings leaves them still technically in the hunt, although they're going to have they've got a mountain to climb, basically, in the final game. And we saw RCB claiming victory today to guarantee their playoff status, and they're still in contention for a top two place as well. And then KKR making heavy weather of a defeat of the Sunrisers Hyderabad. But they look, well, they're sitting pretty, 12 points with one game to go. But their superior net run rate is looking quite useful for them as they go into their final round of games. Claire, let's start with you. We never got the chance to give you the opportunity to do a morale-boosting team talk ahead of this game. And the team have paid the price for it, haven't they?
Well, it looks like, unfortunately for me and the team, I wasn't available last night. And so I never got my chance to really let them know what they had to do. And they just fell short. Obviously, I'm disappointed as more or less out of the competition. But nevertheless, a great game of cricket. They missed me.
Glenn Maxwell, man of the match, 57 off 33. RCB's total, 164 for 7. Punjab Kings were in the hunt there, weren't they? They didn't lose by a lot today.
They were in the hunt and they didn't lose by a lot. And I thought after a really good start by RCB, we bowled really well to pull it back. And, some great bowling at the end. I thought it was really, quite a strong performance after, like I say, an explosive start by RCB. And then, they just kept in the hunt all the way. But I honestly just always felt we were just behind the where we needed to be the whole time. It was,
I know you were watching the other day, Claire, when we were talking about KL Rahul's role at the top of the order. And he and Mayank put on a decent partnership again today. And I know Neil's got a different opinion to me, but I always think with KL Rahul at the top of the Punjab Kings order, he is under pressure from the start because he knows the batsmen that are still to come aren't firing in this tournament. So there's a lot on his shoulders. And when Mayank goes, he then knows that if he gets out, they could all fall in a big heap. I think it's unfair to heap too much blame on KL Rahul because he's doing what he needs to do. He needs the likes of Pooran, Markram, some of the guys that come later to be more consistent.
Well, absolutely. And I think, after his post-match interview, he just seemed really devastated. He's trying to play the captain, he's a keeper, he's opening, he's doing well. And then I think they were on about 91 when they lost the first wicket. And even like the commentary team were just like saying, well, this is a good sign for Punjab because whenever they get to that century partnership, then they never win. So we're thinking, maybe that swings the pendulum our way a little bit. But then, like you say, Nicholas Pooran came in at 3. I mean, he's been, I think, my biggest disappointment. And then, following on from that, I mean, there was only 3 overseas players in the team. So I think, like Sarfraz, they were saying he hasn't had a first-class game in the last 6 months. And then he's there right in the middle when really maybe you could have got Chris Jordan or Fabian Allen in there, just to think there is some batting to come. Yeah, Pooran never got away. Markram went for it, but he got out. And then Oh, it's just a little bit of a shambles. And I guess the annoying thing is, the whole ironic thing is, what they need is a Glenn Maxwell to come in. Except when they had a Glenn Maxwell to come in, he didn't do it. And it's just like, oh no, how frustrating that it's him that took the game away from us. So
Final
so
question to you, Claire, before we move on to the other guys. Punjab Kings have been very guilty this season of getting themselves into winning positions and chucking it away at the death. And you look back on a couple of the games that they were in the last over and they were favourites to win the last over and they lost. When you look at the table now, that is where they've lost this IPL, isn't it? That's where, I mean, I know mathematically they can turn it around, but they need an incredible win in their final game and everything else to go in their favour. But if they just got one or two of those close games on their side, they'd have been right in the mix.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely the one against Rajasthan Royals, it was clear they kind of just threw that away. Whereas, today and a couple of the others that have been really close, it just felt like, yeah, they were fighting. But, when you're coming up against really good bowling, I think I noticed a few really sharp fielding by RCB where it could have gone for 4, but they managed to, really drag it in. I think those little kind of special moments of fielding or whatever, and some brilliant bowling, and pipped at the post. But I don't feel that they threw this away. I think they just got beaten by a better team on the day.
It's a game of very fine margins, isn't it, T20 cricket and the IPL in particular? There's not a lot between some of these sides, and you just need to basically win those little battles in matches. And other teams have been doing that more than the Punjab Kings, unfortunately, for Claire during this tournament. Abai, RCB, though, that's a very good win for them today, getting across the line. They move themselves just behind Delhi Capitals and Chennai Super Kings at the top end of the table, guaranteed now a place in the playoffs. But Virat and co, they'll be hoping another win and games going well for them elsewhere can get them into that all-important top 2. Because for those people watching that don't quite understand the kind of playoff positions at the end of this, if you're in the top 2, you get 2 bites at the cherry, don't you? You get if it finishes as it is now, Delhi Capitals would play Chennai Super Kings. The winner goes straight through to the final. So you get parachuted straight into the final. The loser gets a second chance against the winner of the third against the fourth. So being in that top 2 is very important.
Very much. And all RCB, Chennai and Delhi, all 3 would try to secure those top 2 positions. And it's going to be between, it's going to go down till to the wire, because the last match is between RCB and Delhi. And I think the result of that match could determine which side goes to the top 2 positions and which side ends up in a qualifier or a eliminator, as we call it. So yes, all 3 would be desperate. RCB would be relieved because they are desperate to win the title since it's Virat's last year as a captain, as well as he's announced. They are desperate. The kind of player replacements they did just before the second leg of this IPL showed how desperate they are and how keen they are to get the best in the business within their team. It doesn't guarantee you wins, but it just shows how keen the team is. And luckily for them, now it's sort of coming all together, especially due to Glenn Maxwell's form.
Rito, RCB, they've got 2 matches left. Sunrisers, obviously, to play, and that final game against Delhi Capitals. It's in their hands almost, isn't it? They can upset. Chennai Super Kings and Delhi have been the 2 best teams, I'd argue, so far in this IPL, with RCB just behind them. But RCB can spoil that party a little bit. And as we've just been saying, the top 2 positions, very, very crucial. If you can get that 2 opportunities, if you finish 3rd or 4th and you lose that 3rd or 4th, 3rd versus 4th match, you're gone, aren't you? That's the end of your tournament straight away.
Yep. The way RCB are playing, probably they have it in their hands, as you said rightly, because only one of DC and or CSK will get that 20 points, can get 20 points, because tomorrow DC plays CSK, so that's going to be a very crucial game. RCB will keep an eye on that. So looking at that, RCB, the brand of cricket that they are playing in this leg, and since the Indian leg has been very impressive, at one point it looked like Punjab Kings are favorites to win today's match, but they came back into the contest with some good spin bowling from Chahal, and it looked like that probably Punjab Kings will chase it down with Rahul and Mayank putting on 91 for that fast wicket. But Punjab probably needed one of the two openers to bat through the 20 overs because it was a tricky surface at Sharjah, not the easiest one, but obviously a lot better than the other surfaces that they have played at Sharjah. And this is the kind of surface that I was talking about yesterday. If we want this kind of surfaces for T20 cricket, it encourages good bowling as well as good batting as well. Because Maxwell, it looked like he was batting on a different pitch.
You'll be very happy, Rito, with KKR's win today. But I was doing football today, and I had the IPL match on mute in the corner, and it seemed to me that despite the fact that it always looked like KKR were going to win that match, they made it hard work. They left it right until the final over, where it should have been a little bit more easy than that, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but even the pitch over the one they played on KKR and SRH wasn't the easiest of pitches. No, none of the pitches in the UAE have been easiest apart from last night. I don't know on what surface they played CSK and RR. It just looked like a batting paradise. But KKR, they have that cushion of positive net run rate of a very positive net run rate, so they could take that game deep, and ultimately it mattered for them to take that 2 points, crucial 2 points, and which probably has now just broken through that points table halfway through.
Claire, Sunrisers Hyderabad. I don't know what it is with Sunrise. If you look down their side, they've got some really good players. As I said, there's not a lot between any of these sides. So if you get on the wrong side of things, it can go very quickly against you. But I just cannot understand how Sunrisers have been so poor this time around.
Yeah, me either, really. It just doesn't seem to have gone their way at all, no matter what they've done. But and you know, again, putting on some great performances. Rashid Khan, I thought Jason Holder was good. Sid Call has been absolutely, like, his bowling today was just fantastic. And yeah, even with all that, their batting just hasn't fired. Jason Roy's just not looked settled. Kane Williamson, good grief, he looked like he was going to get into his stride, and then that absolutely blinding run out. So, and I always think sometimes in a T20 game when there's a big run out like that, it can really just kind of shift the momentum, and it definitely shifted it down a gear for poor old SRH.
It's all about belief, Claire, isn't it? And if you get those moments, you start as a team to think, we're winning this one now.
Yeah, although there was quite a nice run out in the Punjab Kings game, but that didn't really swing it. Well, it did swing it a little bit in the batting inning when they were fielding, but not when they were batting. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And Sunrisers, I think we said it earlier in one of the chats, is the team isn't that different apart from, I guess, well, Warner and Bairstow, which is maybe that is the difference, eh? They're missing Johnny Bairstow.
A fully firing David Warner plus Johnny Bairstow is quite an asset to any side, isn't it? At the top of the order.
So maybe that's what it is.
Abai, Shubman Gill, 57 off 51. He kind of played the anchor a little bit today. His strike rate wasn't particularly expressed, but they needed those runs at the top of the order, didn't they, KKR? Because if he'd fallen cheaply at the start, you never quite know what would have happened around the corner. Owen Morgan strides back into form with 2 off 2 at the end of it, but Shubman Gill's performance was very crucial.
I think the situation suited his batting skills as well. I'm not saying he cannot chase when the score is quite big. Of course, he's got the potential, but this one was easier for him, I would say. So this was an opportunity, and he took it with both hands. And KKR would be happy because they'd want runs under his belt. They've got it. I think KKR would have won it anyhow. Even if Gill would have got out, they have enough resources to chase down this much of a total. SRH, KKR have got momentum, and SRH are going the other way. So this match was always going one way.
That word momentum, Abai, it's used a lot in sport, isn't it? And it kind of just means confidence. It means being on the right track. It means having belief, doesn't it? You know, we kind of use momentum as a bit of a catch-all phrase, but it's about everything being positive within that camp because they feel like they're moving in the right direction.
Very much. And it's also about what you just said a couple of minutes back. It's about winning those close moments. You know,
Mm.
couple of your players stand up at very crucial moments to get you over the line. That really lifts the franchise as well as the team. And that's what has happened with KKR. So I fancy them actually winning the cup as well, like I said yesterday, because they've got the momentum which Venkatesh Iyer has given them. So all players are now coming together. I'm sure Morgan would also play his part soon.
And if you're winning, if you've got that momentum and that positivity in your side, when you get into those little scrapes within a match, you tend to come out on top, don't you? Because you believe you're going to win.
Yes, and that's very crucial. So, so teams don't want to, because of this point, teams don't want to go to the downward spiral, as we call it. They always want to keep winning, or they want to, even if they lose, they want to lose it on the in the last over, or they can probably lose a tight match, but nobody wants to give up the game because that can really suck momentum from the team and the franchise. So it's a very crucial aspect, and I feel for Sunrisers because I've seen, like we were discussing before this show, last year even the team which came last was in contention for long, but this time Sunrisers have just given up quite early, and that can turn out to be quite bad. They'll be happy that the mega auction is coming
Yeah.
soon, so they have an opportunity to revamp. But it's not been like that earlier for teams who've come last. The teams who've come last and have given up early have actually had those scars remaining for next 2-3 seasons. So I feel for Sunrisers, and they need to do a good overhaul to come over this next year.
Yeah, that mega auction comes at the right time for a couple of these teams, isn't it? Just to kind of stop the rot and try and get the ball rolling in the right direction, as we said, and get that momentum on their side and start to get that belief back in the camp. Because, equally, the opposite of momentum is kind of just falling by the wayside and starting to believe you're going to lose everything. And I guess that's where Sunrisers are a little bit at the moment. Rito, in terms of your team, KKR, obviously one game to go for them, but you'd feel that if they win that match, they're into the playoffs. I mean, KKR have had a lot of heartbreak over the last two incarnations of the IPL, finishing fifth place twice. They want to do everything they can to try and avoid that. It's not cut and dry by any means. They need to win that final game to make sure, don't they? Make this answer long as well, because I've dropped a couple of things. So whilst you're talking, I'm going to bend down and try and get them.
Yeah, so obviously, even last time KKR missed out on a playoff spot after being on 14 points, but this time, even though it looks like they will finish on 14, they are going to go through if they win that match again. What's the most important thing is that things are still in their hands. They don't have to rely on other teams, what the other teams are doing. If they can play well the way they are playing, obviously, it gives a lot of confidence to me as a KKR fan. But yeah, it looked there were very good signs for KKR in today's match. Oh yeah, obviously Shakib Al Hassan, he was brought into today's team and he bowled quite tidily today. And then Shubman Gill, as Abhay was mentioning, that in the previous game it was about Venkatesh Iyer, but today it was Shubman Gill taking responsibility of what was a tricky chase, I would say, on a tricky surface, and he got the job almost done. So those are some confident signs for a team going into that will hopefully go into the playoffs.
What we're going to do now is going to look through the remaining fixtures. And as a unit, as a strong unit, as Dizzy Gillespie used to say, Yorkshire, we are going to decide what the final results of these group matches are going to be and work out how these. Well, we're going to basically, if you don't want to watch the rest of the IPL, just listen to this next bit. You're going to know what's going to happen. You can tune back in for the playoffs when it's all the dust has settled. So let's go through game by game and vote on who's going to win these remaining matches. As Rito said, it's a very big game coming up tomorrow. We have the Delhi Capitals against the Chennai Super Kings. It's the top two going at each other. The winner of this effectively is going to finish top of the pile, aren't they? And guarantee themselves a place in that top two. The loser still has a chance to maybe just fall by the wayside a little bit. Delhi Capitals against Chennai Super Kings, Abhay. How are you voting? Who wins that one? Don't need any explanation. Just need the winner.
Delhi Capitals.
So you're going to go with Delhi. Rito.
Well, I'm going to go with MHD then.
You have to be difficult. CSK is the phrase, not MSD. He's not a one-man team. Claire, how are you going to go with DC against CSK?
I'm going to go for Chennai.
You're
Or
going to go with
CSK.
Chennai.
Yeah.
You're going to go with Chennai. I'll tell you what. I'm going to have the casting vote on this, aren't I? Because we've got 4 on here, and if we end up 2 apiece on each of those, we're going to get no further forward. I'm going to go with Delhi Capitals, and I'm going to actually make that my casting vote. So Delhi Capitals are going to win that. That's going to take them, after playing 13 games apiece, take Delhi top on 20 points. So let's move to the next match. Rajasthan Royals taking on the Mumbai Indians. Claire, our Mumbai Indians team, which is, I know, close to your heart, it's my team as well. They are really struggling in this tournament. Even a big win doesn't guarantee them anything. I can see Rito's little face there. He's a big smiler. He can't wait for Mumbai to get eliminated from this tournament. I'm going to take Rito off this. Who wins that? Rajasthan Royals or Mumbai?
Mumbai Indians.
You're going to go Mumbai. Rito, I know what you're going to say.
No, I will probably go with Mumbai, James. Just to keep you
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Abai.
Mumbai.
You're going Mumbai as well. So am I. So that means that Rajasthan Royals absolutely cast iron to win that, aren't they? Because it's a 4-0 towards Mumbai there. So that means that after 13 matches, Mumbai would move themselves up to 12. Rajasthan Royals, after 13, would remain on 10. The next match that we have to play, RCB taking on the Sunrisers. Is there anybody on this chat today that sees the Sunrisers winning that one? Put your hands up now. We give the points to RCB then. That was very, very easy indeed. So after 13 games, would move RCB up to 18, level with CSK. And it would mean that Sunrisers still rock bottom on 4. Neil Varane is probably watching this, screaming, probably in agreement, actually, knowing Neil. And next match up, Claire's team, the Punjab Kings playing their last match against CSK playing their last match. Who wins that one, Claire? Can the Punjab Kings derail CSK?
I'm loyal to the end, so I'm going to say Punjab. Yeah,
a vote for Punjab. Rito. Rito, are you there?
Yeah. I lost you there for a bit. Yeah. So I'm.
How are you voting on that
dot,
one? CSK against
CSK.
Punjab. You're going with CSK.
Yellow dot.
Abai.
Heart takes over. Punjab.
Wow. Ooh, I tell you what, it would be typical Punjab Kings, wouldn't it, to put their best performance in when it actually doesn't really matter. Let's give the points to Punjab Kings, which would basically see CSK finishing on 18 points, Punjab Kings hauling themselves up to 12 points at the death. KKR against Rajasthan Royals could be a very interesting match. KKR, basically looking down at my sheet, a win there would see them into the playoffs, judging by what we've done so far. Do KKR win that one, Abai?
Yes, I believe.
So KKR against Rajasthan Royals. Rito, you're going to vote KKR here, aren't you? Yeah, he's going KKR. Claire?
Yeah, I'm going to go KKR as well.
Through to the playoffs.
KKR then get 4 votes there. They go to 14 points, which should probably be enough for them. It would see Rajasthan Royals finishing their group part of this on 10 points and in 7th place, actually, there. Sunrisers Hyderabad against the Mumbai Indians. Can the Mumbai Indians finish on a high and get up to level on points with KKR? So KKR not guaranteed then, are they? If Mumbai Indians absolutely smash Sunrisers Hyderabad and boost their net run rate accordingly, Rito, it's not mathematically beyond the realms, probably realistically beyond the realms, but do you see Mumbai winning that one?
What, by 500 runs, James?
Yeah, Mumbai posts 600 and bowls Sunrisers out for 24.
well, actually, SRH have a very good record against Mumbai, so I'm backing SRH.
You're going to go SRH anyway, Abai?
It's Mumbai, but yes, qualification, I don't know, but that match for sure in Mumbai.
And Claire?
Yeah, Mumbai.
So Mumbai would move themselves up to 14 points. SRH, thanks for coming. Close, well, not even close. A long way away and no cigar. Finishing bottom of the pile, failing to add to their 4 points. We have just the one game left then in the IPL group stage. and that sees the Royal Challengers Bangalore taking on Delhi Capitals in what would be potentially a very important game here. RCB against DC, Rito.
We have talked the RCB up on this podcast, so I'm backing RCB.
Abai,
RCB.
RCB for you as well, Claire?
RCB.
Wow. So RCB, they finished their 14 on 20 points, and DC end up on 20 points as well. So they qualify as the top two. DC would take on RCB in the first of the matches in the playoffs, and we would see, I mean, basically, what's Mumbai Indians' net run rate? It's not going to threaten KKR. So KKR will go through in fourth and will take on CSK in the eliminator there, wouldn't they? So how would you see that one, Rito? I mean, let's go through the playoffs. Let's find out who wins the IPL, shall we? DC against RCB for a place in the final, Abai.
Oh, again, heart and mind. Going with the mind. RCB.
Rito.
Yeah, probably Kohli's giving up his captaincy, so I'm going with him this time.
RCB, Claire?
RCB.
Wow. So RCB go straight through to the IPL final. Delhi Capitals Delhi Capitals, lie in wait for the winner of CSK against KKR. Rito.
KKR have a dismal record against CSK.
So you're basically saying that your Kolkata team is going to break your hero's heart. MSD.
No, I'm saying KKR have a dismal record against CSK. So in the eliminator, I'm backing CSK. They have done
CSK, right? CSK for you. Abai?
It's a hard one. I'll go with CSK.
Abai, just a little thing here. Doesn't really matter what we say on this. It's not going to affect anything. So you don't need to worry too much. Don't need to take too much on your shoulders. So you're going to go CSK as well.
Going for
Claire.
CSK.
I'm going CSK as well.
Right, so CSK knock out KKR. Rito, goodbye, and thanks for coming. So CSK go through to take on Delhi Capitals in the next round for a place in the final. So CSK against Delhi, Claire.
Well, this is. I'm not going with I'm not thinking about the squads. I'm just thinking about getting MSD to the final. So CSK.
Does MSD get to the final, Rito?
Yeah, agree with Claire. Same sentiments over here.
Abai?
He's seen so many finals. Let Rishabh Pant go to the final this time.
That leaves it with me. Oh, you nasty people. Oh.
It's your game.
Same
Delhi
conundrum again.
Delhi Capitals go through. There. Goodbye, MSD. Thank you very much for giving us so much entertainment down the years. That might be the end of you. And I'm sure you'll be back in some ambassadorial form. But MSD, thank you for coming. So the final of IPL 2021, as we've just decided on our end of group stroke playoff so far, would see RCB, Virat Kohli, looking to play, well, his last match as captain of RCB, leading the team out against a potential future captain of India in Rishabh Pant. Shreyas Iyer in his side as well, who could be that as well too, couldn't he? How do we see this final going then? Who's going to win IPL 2021? RCB against Delhi Capitals. Claire.
I know you want me to say RCB, but I'm going to go with Virat. So that's where my heart is.
So RCB to win then?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Rito?
Yeah, I will probably go with DC now.
So one apiece then. This is going to be a last over thriller, this now. Abai.
Yes, I'm going for RCB this time.
So you've left it with me, haven't you? 2 votes for RCB, 1 vote for Delhi Capitals. I have fancied Delhi Capitals all the way through this tournament. I've said on a few podcasts just recently that the fact it's been split into 2 and they don't have to maintain their run throughout the entire tournament, they can go in 2 little bit bursts, could be in their favour. But I would love to see Virat Kohli lift the trophy.
Me too.
I really would. I've got a horrible feeling Virat is going to be watching the presentations from the losing part of the ground. Delhi Capitals, congratulations. You have claimed your first IPL title. It's only fitting. They've got better year on year and they go one better in the 2021 final. Delhi Capitals, Rishabh Pant with his big cheeky grin is going to lift that trophy. And it would be well deserved. I have to say, it would be well deserved. Rito, you happy with that?
Yeah, very happy. Probably in the early part of the season stretch and fit for the tournament. So it was a lucky break for him that a later part of the tournament was moved to UAE. I'm even just thinking about we have just simulated the whole tournament, whereas there are still 11 days left for the
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, if you don't want to listen to any more podcasts, if you don't want to watch any more IPL, you know what's going to happen now. But I mean, it's always nice to put the pictures to what you know, isn't it? It's kind of like watching a film that you've seen before, kind of thing. But we will see Delhi Capitals lift that trophy when it comes to that final, I think on 15th of October. But I mean, going through that process, Abai, it just shows you how close this IPL is. Because, well, I mean, we've gone through there. Obviously, this is fictional and we don't know that these results are going to stand. But it sees two teams finish on 20 points, the way our workings went. It sees third place finish on 18th, two teams on 14, a team on 12, and a team on 10. Sunrise is a long way back. But even that's very, very close. It's going to be tight, this, isn't it, as we go through the last 2 weeks?
Very much. And that has been the case with all the IPLs, if you see in the past as well. IPL is such a ferocious tournament. It's so competitive, and everybody's doing their best efforts with the matchups, with the pitch situation, assembling players of uh, assembling 25 players in each team, assembling the world's best uh, available players from the international teams as well. That's why it becomes so competitive, and the coaching staffs the teams have at their disposal, that's everybody. So hence the competition and the level of competition really is very, very high in the IPL, actually more than the international standards.
Whenever we've done this before, and we tried to predict the results, we got it horribly wrong. And the very next day, the match that we've predicted to go one way goes the other way. So CSK probably going to win tomorrow against Delhi Capitals, and that throws all of the workings that we've just done out of the pot and out of the equation. Claire, you're waving at me.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the only thing that I've got really to add is that what seems to happen is any team that I kind of back to win loses. So when we do get to the final four, I just feel really sorry for whichever team I want to win, because that could be a really bad omen for him.
There you go. Franchise
so what am I going to do?
Franchise is watching this, and the two new franchises going into the mega auction. Don't worry about what players you get. Don't worry about how you about your tactics. Give Claire a ring. Get Claire to support your opposition, and you're going to win the IPL. It's as easy as that. That's all you need to do. Get Claire Sanderson on the other side of the fence, and you will win the IPL. She does for every team she supports.
Either that or get me to do a motivational team talk, James.
Yeah. Well, Punjab Kings did lose out today, and they lost out on your team talk. So it was very important. Probably, I'm sure if KL Rahul's honest, that was probably the missing part of the strategy today for Punjab Kings. But I tell you what, listeners, the IPL, it rumbles on. We've got about 2 more weeks of it. The playoffs are just on the horizon. We've got a number of very crunch group games to come. And of course, we'll be back with you every single day on the Cricket Badger podcast, going through all things IPL. Final point, Claire. Terry the Tarantula is no more, is he?
Well, there's a horrible rumour going around that he actually is no more. The only thing he is no more living in my house. But he has just been moved to a slightly new location that's just a bit breezier, like outside in the garden.
Bit of an upgrade then.
Well, I don't know. You might think it's an upgrade. It's definitely an upgrade for me, because I'm not actually terrified of being in the living room anymore. So,
he did have rather thick legs and big muscles on them. He looked like a big beastie. So, Terry the Tarantula, if you're watching this, I know you're a big fan of the podcast. I hope you're well, and I hope you're safe, and I hope that you're enjoying the IPL. Abai, Rito, and Claire, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Thanks everybody for watching, listening. Hope you're enjoying the IPL, because pretty gripping, isn't it? There's plenty of good games to come as well. So join us as we go through the rest of IPL 2021. I've been James the Cricket Badger. I will see you again tomorrow. And of course, big game, Chennai against Delhi. We'll talk about all things that tomorrow.